Hello everyone, I'm the RPG Recusant and welcome back to another episode of our Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster 100% guide. We have just made our way to the Earth Cave and it's now our job to make our way around and make sure that we can collect every single treasure chest in this area. And we're just using the nice little trick of entering the little sub areas so we can see the mystery of all the different doors. And as I say, we need to collect every treasure chest in the game, so we better get opening. And just like that, we end up opening up to an Earth Elemental. And I suppose, yeah, we just gotta keep our owl group healed up with a nice bit of a Hilara from our resident white mage, Serena. And these things hit hard, and I know Serena doesn't necessarily have the greatest of physical defense, given that she is a white mage in a wee little robe. But we do get an absolute boatload of money. And really good XP. Again, just such a shame that Hema and the group kind of ended up dying at different periods, so they ended up leveling up slightly differently. But we are now level 24, and as I say, it is an objective, or rather an achievement in the game, to get the party to level 50. So we're just about halfway there, and we aren't even a quarter of the way through the game yet, because obviously what we have to do is we have to look into getting the 4 different crystals activated. And as I say, for parts of it, I'm like, yeah, I'll turn off the encounters. And then for other parts, it's just really important to fill out the bestiary. So we're looking into just taking out the mummies, taking out the earth elementals and different things like that. So again, it all depends on if you feel like you've maxed out all your encounters in the Earth Cave, then we should be pretty fine. But other than that, you know, just getting in a couple of different battles to get some money, to get some XP, like there is legitimately no harm. And especially when we've kind of bulked ourselves up that little bit more, that we can just sort of get crits and one-shot things like Minotaurs. And I mean, the money is still really good. Like, we're getting 3k, nearly 4k money. Not too bad at all. And I'm saying money because I'm looking at Kingdom Hearts 2 and that's what is in my head right now. But obviously the currency is Gil. Really sorry about that. But yeah, at this point it's kind of like we've so many spell slots that like we can just sort of heal Ara just to keep ourselves in the very, very high end of HP. Like, it's just not worth us not using our spells to keep us topped up. Especially when we can just turn off the encounters when our HP maybe gets a little bit low. And other times it's like, nah, we can just one-bang all these. There's literally no hassle. Now, okay, Serena can't one-bang them, but like, she's the white mage. She's got enough to be dealing with. She has like all the miraculous miracles of the divine, and you want her to hit hard too? She is not a paladin, okay? And once again, we get a lovely boost for Orbane there. Oh my god, that HP gains. And I find it so weird that, like, legitimately, sometimes the HP goes up by like 5, other times it's like 36. And you're like, where's the rhyme? Where's the reason? What's the rationale here? Oh, we get an Ogre Chief. I think we were looking for an Ogre Chief, weren't we? Well, we definitely were looking for some sort of other ogre, so that is great that we ended up getting them. And as I say, 90% of the enemies are just enemies that are a different color, whether it's wolves that are red, wolves that are blue, wolves that are green, or ogres that are blue, ogres that are green, ogres that are purple. I'm sure there's going to be like a fire elemental, an ice elemental, an air elemental, since we already have like an earth elemental. And I mean, we also had black widows, we had tarantulas, so we had regular spiders, so, you know, a lot of the enemies are just reskins, but to save us having to then come back, we might as well, as we're journeying through the cave, to try and actually get to, you know, the Earth Crystal. We may as well get a good few encounters so that we don't have to come back here and be like, oh man, we're now just literally only here because we're trying to get an encounter. So Hema getting 4 HP. Look at that for a level up. Oh my god, absolutely brilliant. Legitimately, you know, the stuff of Dragon Quest 3 there with literally it's like, and you get 4 HP and 1 more intellect point. And you're like, oh my god, I feel so much more powerful. This has literally been a game changer. Wow. But I'm not sure if this is something that y'all would vibe with, but just while we're just meandering through the cave, I figured I might take the time to tell you guys a little bit about the stories that have inspired this motley crew of adventurers. So the first ever time I ever ran a Dungeons & Dragons session was for 4 of my pals. Well, sorry, 3 of my pals and me. There was the 4 of us. But I say the 4 of us because basically I had put in a DMPC because the party for 5th edition 2014, this was a while ago. Basically we had a monk, we had a rogue, and we had a fighter. And, you know, I was like, oh, do you not maybe want a healer? Oh, and then like nobody wants to be healers. I was like, oh, do you know what? Fine. I will simply just create a DMPC and she can just follow you guys around and like just be a little healer, just be a little life cleric. It'll be fine. So this was a whole homebrewed story, and, you know, all I can say is I made some interesting characters, and by the end of the first session, they had like toppled a corrupt religious figure who was trying to kind of be like, you know, to the DMPC white mage. This priest was basically having her perform all the miracles, having Serena perform all the miracles in town and healing, but yet he'd be like, oh, you know, it's clearly me though. And totally, you know, taking credit for her divinity. And so when they found out about that, Hema, who basically was the town blacksmith, she was a dwarvish blacksmith, you know, kind of retired adventurer, who was very much like, yeah, I'm just here to chill out in this quiet little town, and very much was like this human girl. She is like the purest light that ever existed. She is a sweet cinnamon roll, and she needs and deserves complete and utter protection from absolutely everything. So when they found out about the corrupt priest, it was like he was executed, just like with pure impunity. And yeah, then other craziness happened because it was like a custom story, and I, as a DM, unless I am kept strictly on rails with strict rewards, I just am like, but you're the heroes, you need to be heroic, here, have these wonderful things. So they ended up with like crazy shenanigans, like a unicorn, and then there was like a whole situation where, you know, the monk had like a throwaway line where he was like, oh yeah, like I imagine like back in my backstory there was maybe this girl that like I loved, and like, you know, but I'm very much going with the idea that like I'm a monastic monk, like I'm kind of that bit spiritual, so him and Serena could have that kind of religious connection. And Orvain was very much like, yeah, no, I will like safeguard this young, you know, priestly child. I'll give her like monastic meditations. We'll like pray together. But yeah, he very much was like, I probably just would have had like a girlfriend maybe. And like, you know, my commitment to my monastic lifestyle would have meant that like we couldn't have been together and I had to remain celibate. And I just remember like as a DM, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally cool. Like, yeah, we can like 100% go with that. And then immediately I was just like, that, you know, it's whenever, it's when they give you that like Chekhov's gun where it's like, oh, I have like an ex that we maybe had like a fling and stuff, but like, I could never, like, give up my monastic vows, and then you're like, oh, you've just given me a loaded gun, and that NPC character is definitely going to be returning into your life, and maybe, you know, that one night stand resulted in something, and then how would you feel about being actually a father, and now you're an absentee father, and oh my god, crazy. So yeah, when I'm playing through this game and I see all the different characters, I just legitimately, honest to goodness, just have such nostalgic and fond memories of all these 4 characters and their literal ragtag, you know, shenanigans. And that's not even mentioning Phaelindil, who very much was like an elf rogue, who was very much kind of like a military scout, and just for the purposes of like my lore building, it's very Final Fantasy X. There was basically this magical portal that like went to the Feywild, and like there was lots of elves and fairies and, you know, wonderful trade between these worlds. But then a like celestial alignment, as in like the planets aligned, and then the destination to this portal changed to like the demon realm and the infernal realm. And essentially what this world did was they were able to then manufacture magical, well, as in they were called like mundanes, and it's basically the idea I had from the I just took it from the Legend of the Seeker. Basically it was people that are like completely immunized to magic, like they're basically little walking anti-magic beings, so they couldn't be healed by healing potions, they can't be healed by any type of magic, it's just literally like medicine. So like actual medical doctors and like the medical profession was actually really valued, because they were the only people that could actually have the potential to like do surgeries and amputations and things to actually like safeguard these mundanes, who were getting harder and harder to generate over the years. And basically, oh no, I have to pause here because the story in the game is actually really, really kicking up. So as I say, follow along, collect all those things, and basically there's a vampire, Strahd von Zarovich himself. No, it's not. It is just called the Vampire. Mere mortals cannot kill the undying. And Serena's just like loading her shotgun of like divine magic, being like, oh yeah, we call this spell steak, and it's not going on a grill, you know? So we're gonna blast it with a Diaga spell, but like, oh my god, look at that, like one bite, tons of damage. But we're gonna blast it with our holy magic, doing an absolute boatload of damage, and he's just destroyed. Oh my god, Serena is queen. Absolutely love her. We get 8,000 gil. So amazing. And basically, we can go a bit further down. We get this treasure chest where we get the Star Ruby. Now, if you'll remember, we went to another cave where there was a giant, and that particular giant was like, you shall not pass. The stone slab is set into the floor, and an evil force prevents you from progressing any further. So basically, on our little walk back, I can talk more about my D&D story, and I'm very sorry if like I'm just rambling here. So like, you know, but at the same time, we're just journeying around, we're collecting treasure chests, like, you know, it's just a chill vibe. And I'd rather you guys get to know the history of these different characters. So, Phaelindil, circling back, the whole premise of this was that you had anti-magic beings called these mundanes. And basically they were getting harder and harder to make. But what the world just did, a bit like the summoners to Sin in Final Fantasy X, they were like, we will just make these anti-magical people, and when we throw them through the demon portal to hell, a la Oblivion, it's like throwing them in dissolves the gate, and then it's like reset back to like the Feywild and to like the fairies and the elves and our good positive world. And basically, Phaelindil was part of like the army. They were like there escorting the mundane there, and they were waiting for the demons to start outpouring. And it was a bit like, you know, it was a bit like, you know, the orcs coming out of bloody Mordor. There would just always be a swarm, and they'd always need like a big martial force to kind of guard the mundane into the portal. And basically the year which he was like an elf, so like 50 years before the start of the campaign, he was actually in the army. They were all there. The alignment happened, and then no demons came through. And then, very much confused, you know, he was sent in to scout ahead to be like, did the portal change? You know, are they no longer attacking? What's the story? And so he went in and then discovered, oh my god, they were just like launching a secret assault. So then him and like his lover and like a few others went through as the scouting team. Oh, but sorry. Give him the star ruby. I don't know why he eats the star ruby, but he's like, nom 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 nom. And we're now able to pass by, and once we get to this area past here, we can collect something that will dispel the dark magic, allowing us to progress further into the cave and ultimately find the earth crystal and save the world, you know? But basically, Phalendil makes it back on his own, and he's like, wait, we just need a few more minutes. My team are back there. My wife is back there. And then the army's like, oh, fuck that noise, and just yeets. Just yeets the mundane through, and then, like, destroys the portal, remakes to the Feywild, and he's like, my people are in there, now trapped in the hellscape. Oh my god, this world is evil. And then he kind of just, you know, really was in a vibe where he's like, you know, these mundane people, like, they're just going to sacrifice any number of people. Like, what are we meant to do? This is so, like, fucked, you know? And, yeah, so there was always kind of a bit of friction between Orvain and Phalendil, because Orvain was very much like, well, this just has to be done. It's like a sad reality of the world, but, like, the world's full of sad realities, you know? You can't kind of change everything. We can't doom everyone for, you know, the sake of one person not sacrificing themselves for the greater good. And, you know, there was always a thing of like, well, you know, the mundanes, they volunteer to this, you know? And then it's like, do they though? And there was a whole intrigue there, but yeah, the ragtag group, but the one little linchpin connecting them all together was their various, you know, wants to keep Serena safe and happy, which was quite cute. So here, take the staff and you should be able to break the vampire seal. So we've now received the Earth Rod. And with all of that in tow, we can make our way all the way back down through the cave, the Earth Cave, all the way down to that basement floor again. And, yeah, unbreak the seal, get one of the crystals finally fixed. It'll be good. Those don't look like Shadow Heartless. I don't know why I'm using Dialga, or Dialga? I'm definitely not using a Pokemon. I don't know why I was going to use Dialga when, like, literally they were all taken out by a fire anyway. It's fine. We're fine. Don't be worrying. But yeah, there's the Ogre Chief as well. Just finding all of these wonderful, wonderful things. So again, just checking it out. The Giant's Cave of everything. The Cave of Earth, we're going to need to find more of those treasure chests, guys. And I'm pretty sure those chests will be on those lower floors of the Earth Cave, which will be pretty good. Or did I just not go to that upper building? I can't remember. But yeah, just make sure you're checking the map summary, so we're not missing out on any of the goodness, I suppose. It'll just save a lot of backtracking later, you know? But yeah, Orvain ended up being like the godfather to Serena because he ended up multi-classing into, oh my god, yeah, by the way, I did chaotic rules. Chaotic rules for multi-classing. I literally was like doing XP milestones, like using experience points, which like instead of like milestone, I should say, which already was chaotic. But then I was like, oh well, yeah, if you're like a level 1 fighter and then you go to level 2 fighter, that's like gotten you those stats. But then if you gain the number of experience points to get to from level 1 to level 2, like 300 points, you can instead convert those to a level 1 in a different class. As opposed to the actual rules, which are to get, you get levels and then you can assign them to classes, but the experience gain is more and more each time. And so you can take a level in cleric, let's say, and then when you get to level 2, you can then either become a level 2 cleric or a level 1 cleric and a level 1 fighter. But here was me being like, oh well, yeah, you can just convert your experience points to levels. And so we very much had a level 4 monk that was a level 2 paladin and a level 1 fighter, and it just was chaos. Absolute chaos. But they had some amazing fights though. Like, just the fact that they were so strong was absolutely amazing as well, though. But, as I say, we're just checking out the Owl Bestiary. And we have the Ogre Chief now at number 15. That was like the green ogre. Absolutely brilliant. We got Shrek. Shrek is got. And then I'm like, oh, 37. What's 37? We're going to have to find out what 37 is. Give that an old Google. But it's around the Minotaur and then like the Earth Elementals and the Ochre Jelly. I'm like, oh no, the Vampire. So clearly all of these ones between Earth Elemental and Vampire are enemies that can be encountered in the Earth Cave. We are in trouble. Oh no. But we eventually made our way all the way back to the thing, the stone tablet, the seal, shall we say. And we then blasted our way into the lower levels of the Earth Cave in pursuit of treasure and in pursuit of the Earth Crystal itself. But yeah, just making sure we're topping ourselves up with high potions, because I mean 2 of those rather than, So again, look at this. It's brilliant. We pop into one of the rooms. We're like, oh, that's a ton of chests. That's another 3 there. That's basically, what, 9 chests in just this floor alone. So, 5 and 3 is 8. Oh my god, can't mathematics. But yeah, just open up all of these different chests. Make sure you're just getting different enemies and checking out the bestiary to see, oh, is there still some that aren't here, like the blue leopards. What the hell are they called? A Hyadon? Dunno. Couldn't tell ya. We also have like a blue ogre with the ogre mage as well. And obviously, unfortunately, guys, the treasure chests don't count as opened unless you actually defeat the enemies here. So it is handy though when you have monsters, because sometimes they are rare monsters that yes, you could find on a rare chance here, but they're guaranteed if you open that chest. So, it's pretty good. Not the darkness. Alright, Ansem, stop tempting us with your dark powers. Another massive boost to Phalendil. Medium boost to Orvain. Serena nearly has 400. Oh my god. And now there's more monsters. Oh my god, they're just the same. And now Hema getting a nice boost as well. Very good, very good. More Gil. Monsters, of course. Ooh, a Sphinx though. I think that's a new enemy type. Locked in there. Well done. Getting another 5,000 gil, and we already got, 9,000 or whatever it was. I mean, listen, I won't say no to free money. So 9,000 gil, yeah, jeepers, we're getting absolutely stacked with money. But essentially, guys, all of that story time aside, we're pretty much going to be done with this episode in a few moments. But just let me know, and like, you know, I can take the criticism. Let me know if that whole D&D discussion was not something at all that you wanted, and you'd rather me just discuss the treasure chests, discuss where they are, discuss what's in them, like kind of be more present to the game itself. Or was a little bit of, you know, side discussion just while we're literally just item collecting and, you know, going through the fights. Is that okay with you guys, or how are you finding this series so far? Hopefully you've been enjoying it. And until the next episode, I have been the RPG Recusant, and I hope you guys can leave a like and a comment, and if you have the time, maybe share it with other people that enjoy Final Fantasy. But I hope you have a continued enjoyable rest of your morning, afternoon or evening whenever you've decided to sit down and watch this video today. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.